Hey guys, it's that dividend guy coming at you with another dividend investing video. I just wanted to jump in real quick and see some, opinions about whether or not you should buy Apple stock. Now, keep in mind, I'm not a financial advisor. I know what I'm going to do, and I will tell you guys what my plan is. But Apple did announce a 4-for-1 stock split. But keep in mind, just because Apple goes from 403 to 107 or whatever it's going to go to, keep in mind that that's still overpriced. It's weird to think about it that way, but at 100 it's the same as if it's at 400, it's just splitting. So technically at $100 Apple's overpriced and a lot of people are going to buy it. So depending on if how you feel you should value it, you might not want to buy it when it splits. Let's take a look and see if they say anything about the split in this article, and if they don't, we'll kind of talk through it. So Apple managed to grow through one of the toughest years, but Apple stock, is it a buy? Despite the pandemic, Apple saw its revenue advance 11% year over year, which is crazy. Reported third fiscal quarter earnings. Ticker symbol Apple reported third quarter earnings on July 30th, and results only fueled what has been a remarkable rally for one of the world's biggest companies. Despite the global pandemic, Apple stock is up more than 80% in the last 12 months, which is crazy. In its most recent quarterly report, the company announced record-setting revenue for the June quarter, typically the slowest of the year. Clearly, Apple stock would have been a great buy a year ago, but what about now? And more generally, what are the biggest issues and themes investors in the behemoth should watch for when deciding how the stock should fit into the portfolio? After the earnings, many investors might be wondering, should I buy Apple stock, considering a few points below. Apple stock at a glance, pros of buying Apple, cons of buying Apple, and the bottom line, should you buy the stock? Apple at a glance, um, founded in 1976. I'm not going to read the whole thing. The company was led by Steve Jobs, who would become the ultimate Silicon Valley icon when all was said and done. The upstart business, which started in a garage, would go up against the behemoths of IBM and HPQ. Jobs insisted on building a closed ecosystem instead of catering to the masses out of the gate, like Microsoft. Did make a slower slog, and he was forced out of the company only to return when the company was in deep trouble. He built Apple back to prominence in 2001 with the release of the iPod. It became a blockbuster hit for the company. In 2007, the release of the iPhone set in motion an unstoppable momentum for the company that continues to the present day. Speak with the right financial advisor for you. Oh, sorry, that's an advertisement. The company's ability to merge hardware and its own software, the creation of the product ecosystem that includes the iPhone, the Mac, the iPod, the Apple Watch, and the Apple TV, and now the EarPods, make for a seamless experience across all devices. In the third quarter 2020, Apple saw its revenue jump 11% year over year, despite the pandemic that was raging. Sales came in at 59.69 billion versus an expectations of 52. Earnings per share of $2.58 rose 18%, also setting a record for June, which exceeded the 204 expected. Pros of buying Apple: cash, and Apple is king. The value of cold hard cash is difficult to overstate. In recent years, Apple's enormous cash hoard has reached downright legendary levels, which this is insane. They have enough cash to buy like 5 companies. At the end of June 2020, the company had just less than 194 billion in cash and investments. It routinely returns its shareholders through stock buybacks and dividends. Currently, Apple's dividend, which is why I would be buying it, yield is 0.09%. It's nothing to scoff at, especially since the company has set the precedent of raising its payout annually since first instilling the quarterly stipend at its highest shareholders in 2012. Then the company's quarterly dividend has been more than doubled from a split adjusted 38 cents per share to 82 cents per share today. Which, guys, keep in mind, when the stock split happens, the dividend will split too. You don't get 82 cents per share. You get something like 18 cents per share, I believe. Yeah, because it's 82. So you're going to get about 18 cents per share. The company increased its dividend by 16% in fiscal year 2018, 5% in 2019, and 6% in 2020. So they have decent dividend growth. It beats inflation, so I definitely would be buying it. that's why I'm buying Apple because of the cash hoard and because of the dividend. Over the years, Apple has spent literally hundreds of billions of share buybacks, which is also a very good way to um, it's a very good way to bring cash back to shareholders, um, which helped bring the stock price up more than to $400 a share by late July. And in the most recent earnings report, Apple announced a 4-to-1 stock split. It's first split since 2014 that will make the stock more accessible to a broad base of investors, to a broader base of investors. So that's the whole reason that they're doing is because they feel like Apple is not necessarily overpriced, but it's at a price point where the average Joe can't buy it. So like an average person is going to have to save up for Apple stock, and they feel like they've kept the little man out when it comes to investing. Because I wanted to buy Apple at $200 a share, I'm not touching it 400. So, and keep in mind when they split the stock, 100 is still $400, even though it's $100. It's really weird. So, in order to get it at a Warren Buffett level of like 220 or 270, you'd have to get that stock at like $67 or $52. So it's very weird. Keep that in mind, guys. When the stock splits, 100 is a deal because Apple was at $400. But according to the valuation of the stock, that's overpriced. It's very weird. So keep that in mind when you guys want to buy Apple. Just because it's at 100 doesn't mean it's a good deal. But then it's like, how far is it going to go after the split? Because how many people are going to be able to buy Apple at $100 versus $400? So that stock price, in my opinion, I think Apple is going to go up. Don't invest because of that. But just thinking about it on cam, I'm like, wow, $100 for Apple. Everybody's going to be like, what the heck, and buy it. But Apple at $100, the whole idea is it's going to go back up. So this is the fifth stock split since in company history for Apple. For every share Apple owns fifth stock split in the company history. Apple share an investor in early 1980 owned. They will own 192 shares after the 2020 split. So if you just would have held Apple, you would have made. If you bought one share in 87, you would own 192 Apple shares after the 2020 split goes through. Wow. Anyways, guys, that'll be it for the video. I gave you my thoughts. I think it's a buy at 100, but keep in mind it's actually 400. So everything's getting split in four. You're not really gaining anything. You're not really losing anything with this split. The dividends are the same. The price is the same. It just gets split. So in my opinion, I would love to buy Apple regardless of the price. I just couldn't afford a lot at 100, but I've been putting $1,000 into the market, and that would get me about 10 shares now. So I definitely would be doing it. I'm excited to buy it. So I'm a huge fan of Apple. It's insane that they did the math and 192 shares if you just would have held it when it IPO'd. Jeez, that's so crazy. So, anyways, guys, let me know. Are you an Apple fan? Do you think Apple is a buy at the current level of 400? Because if you do, then it's a current buy at the level of 100. Like I said, you'd have to buy it around this $57 to $64 mark, I think, to get it where Warren Buffett bought it at. So that's generally where I look at it as fair value. But everybody has to do their own calculations. I wouldn't mind buying it a little overpriced right now. To initiate a position, what I generally do is if I think a stock's overpriced, I only buy 2 or 3 shares. And then if I have enough cash, see, if you keep the position small enough that you can really jump into it when it's undervalued, I don't have an issue with initiating a stock overpriced. It's the fact that what if you buy 100 shares at $100 and then one day it gets down to 60? Well, then you have to buy 120 shares of that stock in order to get it down for cost down average purposes. So never initiate a big position unless it's a position that you know is undervalued. I've done this a couple times and it really does work, but don't overdo it. So anyways, guys, with that being said, don't overinvest right away because Apple's $100 a share. I think it's going to go up, but that doesn't mean it's going to stay up. So do your own research, figure out the intrinsic value of the quote-unquote new Apple at $100 a share. I'm definitely going to be buying it regardless, but anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. For me, Apple definitely is a stock to buy. It's been on my watch list for a while. It's been one of my favorite companies. It's in my top 5. It might even be my absolute favorite company. So I like Apple, J&J, Procter & Gamble, and Disney. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next dividend investing video. Take care, guys. Remember to hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button on my channel, That Dividend Guy, and when you do hit the bell notification, I post videos about my portfolio every single day now that I'm back. I have stock market news on like Capital One. I have news on Apple, of course. This is the second video I've done on them. If you haven't looked at the 4-to-1 stock split and me analyzing that, go check that out. I also did a couple of videos on Warren Buffett and what he's doing with his money. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next dividend investing video. Take care, guys.